It's the week of August 30th, 2021 on The Bold and the Beautiful. The week that gave us no air conditioning, no security, and no left to give for Brooke. So fill your petty cups to the brim and get ready for Talk Soap with Keisha Chantal. Hello, Soap Opera Nation. Welcome back. I'm your host, Keisha Chantal, and I am hot over a few dumb things that happened on The Bold and the Beautiful this week. If you're anything like me, you've been watching this shit show lately and probably wondering, why? Why does it have to be this dumb? You say to yourself, I really love a good train wreck. That's why I take 2.5 hours out of my life each week to climb aboard this hot mess express. So, is it really too much to ask that we actually get a show that makes a little bit of sense? Yes, it is too much apparently. Now I know I'm watching a soap opera, a show that is unlike any show on television right now. Soap fans are fully aware that they're going to have to deal with some regurgitation over the years that they're watching. Hello, medical marvels, people coming back from the dead, long lost twins, doppelgangers. And I'm willing to do all of that. But what I don't want to do is watch lazy plot devices that have no explanation. Which brings me to the reason for today's show. Here are 5 dumb things that happened on The Bold and Beautiful this week. Number 1, Ridge visits Steffy. He says, "What's going on? Your door is locked for the first time in years and you seem rattled." Yeah, dummy. She's locking her door now because there's a certain homicidal maniac that is back on the streets after terrorizing you and the rest of the family for years. Isn't that the reason you said that you were going to get security? Or does having security mean that you don't have to lock your doors? Hey, continuity department / story consultant, please go back in your files and footnote the following dates. August 17th, 2021. I just heard from Carter. He's still working on that restraining order. Listen, you better get some security for your house. I'm thinking about getting a security guard as soon as possible. August 18th, 2021. Steffy. Hopefully, Carter can get the restraining order done because I cannot have Sheila around me or my kids. We double security here and we're gonna have to get some guards up at your house. Ridge said to Steffy, we can't relax around Sheila ever. And yet, he shows up at her house and says, "What's going on? The door is locked. You seem rattled. I'm so confused." Come on! August 19th, 2021. Paris. If you really don't want Steffi to know that Sheila texted you, I won't say anything. Finn. Thank you, Paris. I'm not totally sure that keeping this from your wife is a great idea for either of us. Sheila's gone. That was a goodbye text.
And telling Steffi, that's just gonna make her more anxious. She's already hired another guard for the property.
By the way, take note that while Steffi was at Forrester saying that she's thinking about hiring security, Finn is at home telling Paris that his wife just ordered another security guard, which leads us to assume that there's already one security guard in place and she just happened to hire a second or maybe a third one. We don't know. Need proof? Here's Steffi at work. And here's Steffi at home walking in to see Paris and Finn keeping secrets from her. Number 2, that same night, Ridge tells Brooke that the idea of Sheila's DNA coursing through the veins of his grandson is just, he didn't even finish the sentence because I guess it was just too unfathomable to even consider. And here's my problem. Everyone keeps saying how Sheila is a master manipulator. And I don't care if Jack corroborated her claim that she is Finn's birth mother. At the very least, out of all the people in that room that day, Steffi and Finn should have said, pump the brakes. Before we go even further with this discussion, we need to have actual medical, irrefutable proof that you are actually who you claim to be. I mean, is it just me? Is that something that's hard? Also, why is it that no one, especially Finn, has brought up the question to Sheila? Well, if you're my birth mother, then who's my dad? I mean, surely we cannot assume that Sheila got pregnant by immaculate conception. I don't understand why a doctor, we're talking about Finn's perspective, a doctor who has the reference and the history of going through a DNA mishandling is now seeing this stranger and taking her at her word. You haven't asked for a DNA test. And we don't even have to see this DNA test actually take place. They can reference it just in conversation, the same way they reference the fact that they are looking to get security or they have security. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't take a lot to put that in the dialogue. Number 3. Paris stops by Finn's guest house to check in on him. And he tells her that he had a rough night because not only is it really just completely breaking him apart that he's away from his beautiful Steffy, but he ain't got no air conditioning.
Does not help that there's no air conditioning in here.
Cut the shit, okay? We are fully aware that this is just a lazy, very convenient plot device so that Finn can be shirtless and sweaty and we can see the perspiration glistening on his muscles when the light hits him just right. That ain't no problem, all right? What is the problem is the fact that it's just inconceivable. Instead, why not just say, you know what, the AC broke? Or if you really want to push this whole idea that Paris is falling in love or getting some kind of a crush on Finn, then maybe have her observing Finn from the exterior of the guest house as she's on her way to work, and maybe she stops and she looks at him, and maybe you can see her fantasizing about her and Finn in some inappropriate situation. That's all I'm saying. Instead of him saying, oh, the reason why I'm shirtless for the past couple of days is because, we have a heat wave in Malibu and there's no AC in this guest house of this multi-million-dollar mansion. BS. I'm not buying it. No one buys it. And it's insulting to the audience and you know it. Number 4.
You are really invested in this.
At this point, Zende should be highly sensitive to detecting thirst buckets. And this is why he said this to Paris. We know that the alarm bells are going off. The dumb part of this entire scenario, and which is why I'm mad, is the fact that since Zende returned from Europe, he has had zero story. He is just a prop, as well as Paris, in other people's stories. Why? Why can't Zende have his own story? In the beginning, he came back and there was a lot of mystery, just darkness around the fact that suddenly his marriage with Nicole blew up and now he's back in LA. There's obviously a story there. Can we mine that? Can we explore that? And maybe from that, maybe we can build a story for him in Paris instead of having Paris be another conflict or another obstacle in the Sin storyline. It's just so dumb, especially since she started out with this sanctimonious attitude that, oh, cheating is wrong and it's gonna blow up in your face. It's so inappropriate. Now, so far, she hasn't made any overt moves towards Finn. We just see her kind of smiling at him, and of course she's gushing about how amazing he is to Zende. So we know that she's obviously developing a connection, but she hasn't acknowledged it on camera yet. She hasn't acknowledged it to herself. So we can only assume that some BS is going to be happening. Either she's going to throw herself at Finn, and we can only hope and pray that Finn rejects her, but there ain't no guarantees. Number 5. Sheila steps in again to Finn and Steffi's house through the sliding door like,
Finn.
What are you doing here?
You mean, how did you get past security, Finn? Because that's really what the character should be asking. Hire security, they said. Double up on security. We need to put security on all the properties. The security. Which is how Sheila keeps breaching their gates and their walls and sliding in through doors like it ain't no problem. Because you got scarecrows protecting your family. That don't work. It don't work for the crows, and it damn sure as hell ain't gonna work for the devil incarnate, okay? If Sheila is so goddamn dangerous, then you should have a tanker at your gate and you give them a picture of Sheila and tell them to shoot on sight. Well, You want to make sure that you are within your legal limits. So make sure you get that restraining order first. And then once she breaches it, then hey, it's the Wild Wild West up in Malibu. All right? But please, all I'm asking is, and this is on behalf of all my soap fans out there, hot tip, stop referring to security when there is clearly no evidence of them. It's insulting and it's dumb and dumber. Now that I have gotten that off my chest, I can breathe again until the next dragging. In the meantime, stay petty.